The Wizard of Oz is all everyone talks about these days. But do you know about the dark side of this movie? Pay attention because the information in this video will totally blow your mind. Once you hear the truth about this movie, you will never see it the same way again. Harrowing on-set accidents. The magic of The Wizard of Oz hit a dangerous reality. Many of the cast members suffered serious injuries while filming. Special effects were new at the time, and safety standards were not what they are today. As a result, several actors experienced life-threatening accidents that left permanent scars, both physical and emotional. Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West, endured one of the worst accidents on set. During the scene where she disappears in a burst of fire in Munchkinland, the special effects team used flames and a trapdoor. The idea was for Hamilton to vanish in sync with the explosion. However, something went terribly wrong. The trapdoor malfunctioned, and she didn't escape in time. The fire erupted around her, causing second-degree burns on her face and third-degree burns on her hand. To make things worse, her green makeup contained copper, which made her injuries even more painful. Hamilton spent 6 weeks recovering in the hospital. Despite her injuries, she returned to finish the film, but she refused to do any more fire-related stunts, fearing another accident. Buddy Ebsen was the original actor cast as the Tin Man. But after only a few days of filming, he suffered a terrifying health crisis. His silver makeup, made from aluminum powder, caused him to develop severe breathing problems. Ebsen woke up one night feeling like he was suffocating. His lungs had filled with aluminum dust, and he was rushed to the hospital. He spent weeks recovering, unable to breathe properly. Doctors warned that if he continued filming, it could kill him. MGM, the studio behind the movie, didn't show much concern. Instead of fixing the makeup, they simply replaced Ebsen with actor Jack Haley. The studio never told the rest of the cast what happened to Ebsen, and he was left out of the production entirely. Haley's makeup was changed to a safer paste instead of powder, but he still suffered an eye infection from it. To this day, many fans don't realize that Ebsen was the original Tin Man, and that his life was nearly destroyed by the role. While The Wizard of Oz dazzled audiences with its imaginative costumes and stunning visuals, the reality behind the scenes was far from glamorous. Many of the costumes and makeup used in the film were not only uncomfortable, but also dangerously unsafe. The Cowardly Lion's costume. Bert Lahr, who played the Cowardly Lion, had to wear one of the most difficult costumes in the film. Instead of using lightweight materials, the costume designers decided to make it from real lion skin and fur. This made the outfit incredibly heavy, reportedly weighing around 90 pounds. The studio's bright lights made filming extremely hot, and Lahr would sweat so much inside the costume that it had to be dried out overnight. The suit would often stink because it absorbed so much sweat, but there was no backup costume. He had to wear the same one every day. Despite the discomfort, Lahr powered through. However, the weight of the costume made movement difficult, and performing dance scenes was exhausting. Looking back, it's shocking that such an impractical and unhygienic costume was used, all in the name of realism. Another shocking detail about The Wizard of Oz is the widespread use of asbestos, a dangerous material now known to cause serious lung diseases. In the 1930s, asbestos was commonly used in fireproofing and insulation, but it was also used in films for visual effects. In the famous scene where Dorothy and her friends walk through the enchanted poppy field, fake snow falls around them. What many don't realize is that this snow was made entirely of asbestos fibers. The actors unknowingly breathed in this hazardous material during filming. Even more disturbingly, asbestos was also used for the Wicked Witch's burning broomstick. The studio coated it with asbestos to make it appear like it was smoldering. This put the cast and crew at serious risk every time they filmed near it. At the time, no one knew the long-term health risks of asbestos exposure. But looking back, it's alarming to think that the actors were surrounded by such a dangerous substance throughout production. While the production of The Wizard of Oz was difficult for many cast members, no one suffered more than Judy Garland. At just 16 years old, she was thrust into the spotlight, but behind the scenes, she faced extreme mistreatment that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Garland was a naturally petite teenager, but studio executives believed she needed to look even younger and thinner to play Dorothy. They put her on a brutal diet consisting of little more than black coffee, chicken broth and lettuce. To keep her weight down and her energy high, the studio gave her amphetamines, powerful stimulant drugs. At the time, Hollywood regularly used these pills to keep actors working long hours. This relentless routine of stimulants and sedatives eventually led to a lifelong addiction. Garland struggled with substance abuse for the rest of her life, an addiction that began when she was just a teenager filming The Wizard of Oz. In addition to the physical toll, Garland also suffered from emotional abuse at the hands of MGM executives. Studio head Louis B. Mayer constantly belittled her, calling her names like fat little pig and ugly duckling, to make her feel insecure. Worse, she was also reportedly harassed by some of the older male actors on set. Some sources claim that the actors playing the Munchkins behaved inappropriately toward her, making her feel uncomfortable while filming. Garland's experiences on the set of The Wizard of Oz set the stage for the struggles that would follow her into adulthood. The drug dependency she developed as a teenager worsened as she continued working in Hollywood. Over the years, she faced ongoing battles with addiction, depression, and financial instability. Despite her incredible talent and success, she was never able to fully escape the damage caused by her early years in the industry. Tragically, she passed away in 1969 from an accidental overdose at just 47 years old. While The Wizard of Oz is widely known as a beloved children's story, many scholars and theorists believe it contains deeper meanings. Over the years, interpretations have ranged from political allegories to hidden spiritual messages. Whether or not these were intentional, they add another layer to the way we view this classic film. The political allegory theory. One of the most popular theories is that The Wizard of Oz is a political allegory about late 19th century America, specifically the populist movement of the 1890s. Some historians believe that L. Frank Baum, the author of the original book, used his story to comment on the economic struggles of the time. In this interpretation, the yellow brick road represents the gold standard, a financial system that was a major debate in the late 1800s. Dorothy's silver slippers, changed to ruby in the movie, symbolize the idea that silver, rather than gold, could be used to support the economy. The Emerald City is said to represent Washington, D.C., and the wizard himself represents politicians who promise change but have little real power. Other characters fit into this theory as well. The Scarecrow symbolizes struggling farmers, the Tin Man represents industrial workers who felt dehumanized by factory jobs, and the Cowardly Lion is believed to be a reference to politician William Jennings Bryan, who had a powerful voice but failed to win the presidency. While there's no direct proof that Baum intended this interpretation, the connections are strong enough that many believe The Wizard of Oz was more than just a fairy tale. Theosophical and spiritual influences. Another theory suggests that Baum's book, and by extension the film, contains deep spiritual symbolism. Baum was known to have been involved with Theosophy, a mystical movement that explores hidden knowledge and enlightenment. Some researchers believe this influenced the way he crafted The Wizard of Oz. In this interpretation, Dorothy's journey represents a spiritual awakening. She starts off in Kansas, symbolizing the ordinary world, before traveling to Oz, a place full of wonder and mystery. Her path along the yellow brick road can be seen as a metaphor for self-discovery, with each character she meets representing different aspects of human nature. The Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion reflect the three key parts of personal growth: intelligence, emotion, and courage. The wizard, who turns out to be an ordinary man behind a curtain, may represent the idea that enlightenment comes from within rather than external figures of power. Even Dorothy's famous line, "There's no place like home," can be interpreted as a spiritual lesson. It suggests that everything we search for in life, whether it's wisdom, love, or strength, has been inside us all along. Whether these theories are true or simply coincidences, they add a fascinating new perspective to The Wizard of Oz. This film may be more than just a children's story. It could also be a hidden guide to understanding politics, philosophy, and human nature. Conclusion. For decades, The Wizard of Oz has been seen as a magical, heartwarming film. Generations have grown up watching Dorothy and her friends journey through Oz, never realizing the dark truths hidden behind the scenes. But as we've uncovered, the making of this classic was filled with danger, mistreatment, and tragedy. The cast endured extreme hardships, from life-threatening accidents to toxic costumes and makeup. Margaret Hamilton suffered severe burns, Buddy Ebsen was hospitalized due to poisonous makeup, and Burt Lahr had to perform in a heavy, uncomfortable lion suit. The use of hazardous materials like asbestos put many actors at risk, a danger that wasn't even understood at the time. Judy Garland's story is perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. She was pushed to extreme dieting, given dangerous drugs, and treated cruelly by studio executives. What should have been a career-defining moment became the start of a lifelong struggle with addiction and emotional distress. Beyond these shocking behind-the-scenes facts, the film itself may hold hidden meanings. Whether seen as a political allegory or a spiritual journey, The Wizard of Oz continues to inspire theories and interpretations. Its influence goes far beyond entertainment, touching on history, philosophy, and culture. Despite its dark past, The Wizard of Oz remains a masterpiece that shaped Hollywood. But now, knowing what happened behind the curtain, it's impossible to watch the film the same way again. The magic of Oz came at a high price, one that few people ever knew about. What do you think about these facts? Let us know in the comments below.